Hello, good evening, friends, and you're most welcome to the 15th edition of the Mind Quiz. And today is November 2nd, and the whole objective of this game is to basically identify the incident which have happened on this day, which is November 2nd, and how quickly you can think. And if you can think and answer most of the questions quickly, then obviously you are improving your critical thinking. So let's dive into our quiz immediately. But before that, let me tell you the rules of this game. The rules are very simple. You will be given one question and you will be given 60 seconds to answer that question. And if you can quickly answer, then obviously your mind is working in a very rapid pace. So let us dive into our quiz and we will begin our game. The first question is, in the year 1824, US popular presidential vote first time it was recorded, and which candidate beats John Quincy Adams? And the time starts now. So we know that in the US, the popular votes are also counted, and accordingly, there is a ratio, and on that ratio, the presidential votes have been given preferences. But for the first time, when this was started, and this started today on November 2nd, back in the day, and who was the candidate who actually defeated this gentleman? Let's find the answer. It is the Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson defeated his closest rival and became the president of United States. So let's proceed further to the next question. In the year 1841, who successfully revolted against the Shah Shuja in Afghanistan? And the time starts now. So during a revolt in the year 1841, the then ruling king of Afghanistan was ousted, who was a person who actually carried out this particular coup. Let's find out. It is Akbar Khan who actually removed the reigning king of Afghanistan on November 2nd. All right, let's move to the quickly to the next question. And by the way, friends, we are live and you can actually respond from any social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. You can actually use the chat function to send in your answer if you know, but you should hurry because you will be given only 60 seconds to respond. Let's go to the next question. In the year 1852, who was elected the 14th President of the United States of America? Time starts now. So the question is, in the year 1852 on November 2nd, who was elected as the 14th President of United States of America? Let's find out. It is Franklin Pierce, and he was from the Democratic Party, and he was elected as the 14th President of United States of America. Let's quickly go to the next question. In the year 1886, who invents the first car? Even though there was no word as car, it was known as the gas engine operated vehicle, or the first automobile, in the year 1886, and the time starts now. Well, the first car, 1886. Can you even imagine, friends, that the cars have been on our road since 1886? We will learn about this particular inventor more in detail, but let's find the answer to this question first. The name of the inventor is Carl Benz. You know, the Benz, Mercedes Benz, the same Carl Benz who actually invents the first gasoline internal combustion engine car. And the story goes like this, that his wife wanted to go shopping, and there was some issue with the stagecoach and etc. And he is an inventor himself, so he said, okay, why not invent a personal vehicle, especially for my wife, so that she can go shopping in a self-driven car. So the first car was made by Carl Benz for his wife. So in other words, the first car was for women to drive around. All right, let's go to the next question. In the year 1907, November 2nd, a US banker locks over 40 other bankers, his fellow industry colleagues, in his library to force them to find a way to avert a New York banking crisis. And time starts now. So a banker kind of locks his industry colleagues, another 40 bankers from the industry, in his library to basically do some sort of brainstorming and come up with a financial solution to what was going on in the New York banking crisis back in the days. And who was this banker? It was JP Morgan, the famous JP Morgan. And once upon a time, he was the richest person in the world, and also the financier of Thomas Edison as well as Nikola Tesla. So JP Morgan was a big shot of the day, and he actually locks up. He had the cloud, and people used to really feel that he is a leader. He locks up another 40 bankers into his library to force them to come up with a solution. Okay, let's go to the next question. In the year 1930, who was coronated as 225th emperor of the Ethiopian Solomonic dynasty? 225th emperor, maybe more than 1,000-year-old dynasty. And the time starts now. So, the kingdom of Ethiopia, there are many facts which people around the world do not know about Ethiopia. I will tell you, but let us find the answer first. The answer is Ras Tafari Makanan, and he was coronated as the king, and subsequently to his coronation, he was known as Haile Selassie the First. Haile Selassie may have some meaning for the Ethiopian people, but Haile Selassie, as the world knows him, was very active in the political scenario, and he was very well known even outside Ethiopia. So I wanted to tell you, share some facts about Ethiopia. Is that the Ethiopia is the only country in the world which was never colonized. You know, a large country like India was colonized, Indonesia, China, America. Everybody was, every country, all the popular country. In fact, whole of Africa was colonized by the British colonizing forces, colonizing power. But all these British colonizers fought with Ethiopia, and they were not able to colonize it. British tried it, and subsequently Italians tried it. Even Germans had a go, but they all failed to defeat Ethiopia. So if you go to Ethiopia today, you will see a totally different image. Very little use of English, and they have their own script, they have their own language, and they are one of the old civilization existing in Africa, and they are very rich because they unlike the common belief that Ethiopia is a poor country, Ethiopia is very rich because they produce the world best finest coffee, which is very expensive. All right, so let's go to the next question. In the year 1936 at 3 p.m., who begins the world first regular high definition TV broadcast service? So, what organization begins the first TV broadcast in the year 1936? And the time starts now. friends, the television broadcast, which is sort of de facto, nobody listens to radio anymore, but it started way back in 1936. And who started it? Let's find out. At 3 p.m. exactly on November 2nd in the year 1936, BBC was the company to start the first television broadcast from a specially constructed studio at Alexandra Palace, North London. And therefore, BBC is considered to be the first and the oldest television media company. Okay, let's move to the next question quickly. In the year 1947, who flies an aeroplane known as Spruce Goose, a huge wooden aeroplane for the first time and the last time? And the time starts now. So the Spruce Goose is one of the largest aeroplanes ever built, and it was actually built as a flying boat. So let's find the answer first, and then I'll tell you more about this particular aircraft. And it is the legendary Howard Hughes who actually not only built this aircraft through his own company, and also he designed it. He also flew for the first and the last time. Well, he was commissioned by the US Army to construct a huge flying boat to ferry the soldiers from America to the Europe. He actually took the challenge, and back in the days when you are building such a huge flying boat, the materials were not available. So after a lot of R&D, they figured out that wood is the best strong and light material to build a huge aircraft, which they were able to build. And by the time it was completed, the war was already over. So this is something which happened. And the Spruce Goose, although was airworthy, was a huge plane, but by the time it was ready, there was no use for this plane. So that is why we say that he actually proved to the world that such a huge plane can take off and also successfully land without breaking apart, entirely made of wood. And they actually used a lot of new technology, new techniques to build this huge aircraft. And Howard Hughes actually has his own aviation company as well. So this is a brief history of this crazy inventor, and also his crazy aircraft which he actually built. Still, if you are in US, you can actually go and see this aircraft in a museum. Now let's proceed to the next question. In the year 1953, which country became the world's first Islamic Republic? First Islamic Republic. Time starts. Well, friends, if you are living in the Indian subcontinent, you should know the answer. But before I tell you more, let's find out the answer. And remember, this is the first Islamic Republic country in the world in the year 1953. It was announced on November 2nd, which is today. Let's find the answer. It is Pakistan. Can you imagine, Pakistan broke away from India, or rather was snatched away from India, and then they created their whole country on the basis of Islam, with lot of huge overtone of religious sentiment, whereas the Islamic nations were not Islamic Republic. So Pakistan became the world first Islamic Republic, and then later several other countries also became Islamic, like Iran, Iraq, which is also democratic now. Iraq as a country has taken the whole round, was Islamic and then now democratic. Uh, but then all the majority Muslim nations are not Islamic in nature, and Pakistan was the first one and showed to other countries to also become Islamic. So basically, catch on to the religious overtone, which is a very bad thing to do, in my opinion. But uh, you know, the people of Pakistan must have felt right at that point in time. I do not know. This is open for debate. All right, let's move on to the next question. In the year 1955, who formed the first Israeli government? And the time starts now. So, friends, we all know that the Israel is passing through a very bad time, and we have recently seen a very devastating attack on them. Uh, but this program is about quiz. So, in the year 1948, the Israelites were given their land, because this land belonged to Israelites, as per the history. This land was given to them, and the country of Israel was born. However, they did not start the governance of that, because a lot of Israelites were coming and settling into this land, and by the time they had the critical mass of people, it took some time, and therefore the government really started in 1955. Let's find the answer about who was the leader of this government. And the first prime minister of Israel was David Ben Gurion. And he actually not only built the cabinet and the parliament and the entire election system, entire ecosystem around democracy, and also rules and regulation, which will be governed this new country, which will govern the new country of Israel. The whole of this governance started 7 years after the Israel was formed. So in 1955, they actually started their governance. All right, let's move to the next question. In the year 1971, who was the first African American to be elected to the position of a sheriff of a county located in New Jersey? First African American. Before that, there were no African American in a sheriff position. And the time starts. So this has been a long journey for the African American population in the United States, because even after forming a country, a nation based on liberty, it took them 400 years for bringing a portion of the society really come in the forefront. And this is the one example that uh, until 1971 there was no African American in any prominent position of the governance. Let's find the answer. It was the retired boxer, and his name was Jersey Joe Walcott. And he was the first sheriff from the African American descent to become the sheriff of a county located in New Jersey. Let's move to the next question. In the year 1976, Democrat candidate Jimmy Carter is elected 39th President of the United States. Which incumbent president did he defeat? A simple question, and the time starts now. So, friends, Jimmy Carter is a very popular president, very smart, and when he became the president, he was quite young. And we still, see Jimmy Carter in the frontline media working for a lot of humanitarian tasks. Important thing is he actually Jimmy Carter came from a very humble background, and when he removed incumbent president, it looks like that's just like David and Goliath, where David being Jimmy Carter, and he removed a very popular, very famous president from its seat. Let's find the answer, and that is the Republican president Gerald Ford. Very powerful, very popular name of the time, but Jimmy Carter was able to knock him off from the seat of the power. Okay, let's move to the next question. In the year 1986, who wins the third tournament in 3 weeks in different continents? This is regarding tennis. And who wins, an athlete who wins the three tournaments within 3 weeks in three different continents? And the time starts now. Well, this was a slightly difficult question to remember. This athlete's name is not easy. But then, if you are 30 plus, you should know the answer. Let's find the answer first. The German tennis star Boris Becker, very smart guy, very young, and he actually, I was a little boy when this match was going on, and when the Wimbledon was going on, Ivan Lendis and Boris Becker, in which Ivan Lendl wanted to defeat this young boy. He was only 16 years old, and he wanted to win Wimbledon. And Ivan Lendl had such a huge stature as a tennis player, and he thought that he can defeat. But then Boris Becker defeats Ivan Lendl, and Ivan Lendl surprisingly missed the chance of winning Wimbledon throughout his career. And Boris Becker became the only tennis athlete to win three titles within 3 weeks and playing on three different continents. Amazing feat by Boris Becker. Let's move to the next question. In the year 2006, 7th Latin Grammy Awards, who was the first female artist to win the Record of the Year, Album of the Year, and Song of the Year, all three titles during this Latin Grammy Awards? 7th Latin Grammy Award, that's the keyword. You should be able to guess the answer. Even if you don't know the answer, you should be able to guess it. And the time starts now. Well, as I said, the answer was sort of hidden in the question itself. As you know, the Grammy Awards are predominantly American awards, basically held in USA. However, this was about the Latin Grammy Awards. So, logically, it has to be somebody who actually sings Spanish songs in USA. And answer is very simple. Let's find the answer first. It is Shakira. She won all three awards, all three awards during the Latin Grammy Award celebration, and she smashed the charts on her debut, and she became overnight a sensation, not only in Latin American or the Spanish speaking countries, but also in the rest of the world. Let's find out if we have more questions. Yes. In the year 2015, which prime minister scraps knighthood and dames from the Australian honor system? That means they said, look, these are certain things which are outdated, and Australia being a new country, even though part of Commonwealth, we don't need these citations. Which prime minister? And the time starts. So friends, hope you know what is knighthood. Knighthood is usually given by the Queen of England, and once you become a knight or a dame, in case of a lady, you are known as sir or a lady. So these citations were removed by Australia in 2015. Let's find the answer. And the Prime Minister name was Malcolm Turnbull. That's the name of the prime minister, and they got rid of these age-old titles, which basically came to Australia from England. And even though Australia is part of the Commonwealth, they don't have a presidential position. The prime minister reports into the Queen. They actually decided to get rid of these titles like Sir and Lady, etc., etc., Dame, for that matter. So let's go to the next question if we have left any more question for today. Of course, in the year 2020, what became the most watched video on YouTube with 7.04 billion views? Time starts now. Okay, so most watched video on YouTube, and watched 7+ billion times. Let's find the answer. It is the Baby Shark Bar by Pink Fog, and this is the most viewed video on YouTube. Let's find the answer. I think there are some answers. Yes, we have Chandra Sen who has given the right answer. Good job, Chandra Sen, for answering this. This is amazing. Your mental abilities are quite sharp because you were able to answer this difficult question within 60 seconds. So we have run out of the question for today, but I like to thank all of you who are watching live, and also some of you attempted to answer these questions. Edify Learning, and also Shivam PUBG 2121. Thanks for attempting, and I will catch you same time tomorrow. Be ready, and as you know that you have to respond quickly within 60 seconds. Bye for now.